24 interceptions were thrown in the opening week of the season. I'm going to break down the ones that were not the quarterback's fault. Let's jump right into the video. Of all the interceptions thrown in the opening week of the season, this is the one that I can truly say is 0% the quarterback's fault. He makes the perfect read, throws the perfect ball, and it gets picked anyway. So here's what I mean by that. The Eagles here are running what I would characterize as like a cover zero hole. That's how I would characterize it. This safety, right, he's not playing a deep middle safety like a cover one with a 5-man rush. He's sitting in here and taking away any quick routes the way the middle defender would cover it in cover one hole. But there's no deep safety. So he's just going to sit, right? He's not going to drop back. He's going to come in and take away the first opening route, the first in-breaking route. So it's cover zero everywhere else, middle defender, and then these 5 guys on the line of scrimmage are all going to pass rush, right? So 5 pass rushers against a 5 pass protection front. And the Chiefs right here, they run a trail concept, and it should work. It should work. They bring these guys in motion, right? He's going to come around in motion and then just run a swing route out here, right? So he's going to come in motion, get back out. And then you run a trail route. We're going to come across the field right here. That's going to take this middle defender down, and then Travis Kelce on the trail route. That is what should be open. And it's open enough, and Mahomes makes the throw on time and on target, right? So Kareem Hunt comes back out here. We get our receiver working across the field this way, occupies that zone. Mahomes throws it on time, hits Kelce in the chest, and Kelce drops it. Picked off by the Eagles. Big return. Out past the 40. Not even a little bit Patrick Mahomes' fault. This is a great view of it. Mahomes, right, resets, knows where he's going right away. It's the perfect play call against what the Eagles are running. It's perfect. Everything's perfect except the execution. Hits Kelce in the stomach, and he drops it, gets picked off. Nothing you can do about that as a quarterback. The only other throw I would say has very little to do with the quarterback's issue, like almost nothing to do with the quarterback, is this Aaron Rodgers' first interception, right? So we're going to get Jonnu Smith in motion across the field here, and when he does that, he's going to bring a safety over to the middle of the field. So the safety went from here to here, and now they're going to run the same concept that they connected to DK Metcalf on for the touchdown back here. The out and the slant, right? Same concept over here. Over here, it's kind of like a double out concept to the boundary here, and then scramble drill ensues with an angle route from Kenneth Gainwell, and it's covered really well. So this safety is going to drift over here to protect first in here. They're going to play locked up man coverage on the outside over here, and then this safety is going to go help against kind of rub routes and stuff like that. Going to try and jump a rub route over here. And then over here, they're going to kind of bracket, these linebackers are, with the first in receiver. So when Gainwell comes out, this linebacker comes down to cover the flat for him, and then he passes it off to this linebacker when he breaks in on the angle. Then he pass rushes to Rodgers. So they cover it very well, and it's tight man coverage, and everything is covered really well. Nothing's really open. Maybe if Rodgers doesn't get immediate pressure inside because Broderick Jones is still their left tackle, maybe, just maybe, he's able to throw this ball to kind of the front pylon over here on this out route on rhythm. Potential for that to happen, but can't do it. Also, Kenneth Gainwell loses his balance, which doesn't help. Kenneth Gainwell probably, I don't know about probably, if he keeps his balance, might get this ball right here on his chest to try and go surge his way into the end zone. But he loses his balance. Rodgers can't pull the trigger, and now it's scramble drill. So both these guys are going to turn up, and because it's so tight back here, there's just not a whole lot. So Rodgers said in the press conference suggesting that Calvin Austin stays in the flat instead of turning up. I get it, but that's just tough. Right, and it's man coverage, so you're going to try and get separation from your man. So Pat Freiermuth is going to square up with his DB and create space to his back for Rodgers to put the football. And he plays it nicely. So Rodgers sees it, whips it to the side here. Calvin Austin comes up the field, and the ball is actually placed perfectly for Calvin Austin to go make a play on it as well. So both these guys, the ball is in a perfect spot for either of them to go make a play. Unfortunately, Calvin Austin does not make a play. He gets his hands on the ball and tips it directly to the DB. Nothing Rodgers can do about it. Is it a risky throw? Yes. That's why I don't say it's 0% his fault like this Mahomes interception. But at the end of the day, it's 3rd and goal. You want to go make a play in a tie game. Touchdowns win games. Field goals lose you games when you are in this opportunity. Inside the 5-yard line, 1st and goal at the 5. That is an opportunity to score a touchdown, and you want to capitalize on those. So yes, take a shot. It's a tight window. Rodgers has the arm talent to make the throw, and he does. He makes the throw. I mean, look at this ball placement. It is perfect. It doesn't get better than that. Tipped and intercepted. So that's not one that falls on the shoulders of Rodgers. Does he have one later in the game that's his fault? Yes. But this one is not it. Geno Smith had a rough night, but I don't think this interception was all that bad. Like, it wasn't totally on him. It's 3rd down and 15. There's a third of the fourth quarter left, and you're down big, so you got to go make a play. Now, what I would say is be a little more conservative with the ball because a field goal puts you in a one-score game. So on that end of things, it is still not good, but this isn't like the worst throw ever, okay, especially compared to his other interceptions, right? So this corner is going to get the deep half. This safety is going to roll into a vertical hook or like a flat, all right? And then you get vertical hook, you get deep middle, vertical hook, flat, deep half, right? Standard cover 2 look. They're just adding a little rotation to it. The Raiders are running dagger. So the Raiders, you're going to get Jakobi Meyers up the middle of the field, right? On this seam route. You're going to get a deep dig from this outside receiver. He's going to break in about 3 yards deep in the end zone, and then you're going to get this out route from the tight end, right? And then you're just going to get inside release fade. It's inside release because the corner's going to play hard outside leverage, so you're wasting your time to release to the outside. Get inside, stack on top, get back outside on the fade, right? So there's not a whole lot to do with this football. You can't throw the dig. The safety's going to be over the top of it, and he's just going to drive on it as soon as you throw it. And then this is really the key, right? Against cover 2, you have a one-on-one up the seam with this deep middle defender who, unfortunately for the Raiders, is Derwin James. So Derwin James, what does he do? Well, he plays it perfectly, obviously, right? Derwin James is terrific here. And this ball from Geno Smith on time, the ball placement's not terrible. It ends up being a little inside. Derwin James breaks it up, knocks it to the safety, it gets picked off. But all things considered, knowing you have to go make a play, right? I think he's expecting Jakobi Meyers to almost stack and win inside. He leaves it a little bit inside if he wants to throw it back shoulder, or a little bit outside if he wants to get it on the other side of Derwin James, which might have given him a better chance for a pass interference call. But as it is, Derwin James makes a great play on the ball, leaves it a little inside. It's not perfect. I'd say it's closer to 50-50, though. This isn't one where you go, oh, Geno, what are you doing? It's not that bad of an interception. Here, Cam Hayward saves the Steelers. I'm including this because it got tipped and no one blocked for Sam Darnold, and I feel bad for him. So I'm going to include this interception. But this safety is going to be responsible for A.J. Barner, right? And you're going to see that he gets absolutely just wide open. So the Steelers are incredibly fortunate that Cam Hayward got there because this is a free first down. It's free. I hate this. I hate it. Why is the man responsible for A.J. Barner 8 yards off on 4th and 1? I don't get it. The Steelers defense, good Lord, I don't understand it. I don't understand. They're so fortunate that Cam Hayward is able to get back there practically untouched, get in Sam Darnold's face, and tip the ball into the air. And it's unfortunate for Sam because he makes the right decision. And if his offensive line just blocks, right? Like, this is just not... They would have been better off just running stretch this way. If you haven't noticed, this week, unlike last week, there are much less interceptions that were created by the failures of the supporting cast. This was the interceptions are the quarterback's fault kind of week. So difficult for me to find plays. But you'll see right here, the Jaguars, right? They're going to run really the perfect concept for what the Bengals have running and the style of defense they run. So the Bengals are going to run man coverage pretty much across the board, right? This safety is going to be manned up on the tight end right here. This safety manned up on the running back. And then these two linebackers are pretty much going to play like a zone. The Jacksonville Jaguars right here are going to run this out swing concept, right? So nothing really gets open over here, but you're going to get kind of like an in-breaking sit route from the tight end. You're going to get this corner route that gets open and like a wide hitch or like a wide out hitch kind of thing over here in the boundary, right? So that's what gets open, or that's what the Jaguars run. And you're going to see Trevor Lawrence, right? He takes his 3-step drop. He's on time here. He's throwing the ball right on time, right? This is where he's throwing the football. This is great anticipation because he sees the leverage of this defensive back, right? The defensive back's hips are facing the line of scrimmage, and he has a wide receiver running vertical past him. This is a touchdown through and through. But unfortunately for him, his left tackle does not block Trey Hendrickson at all. Trey Hendrickson smokes his man, gets past the line, hits Trevor Lawrence mid-release, right? Hits him right at the end of that release. And what does that do? It takes just a little bit of power off the throw. So Trevor Lawrence now underthrows this football, allows the DB to undercut it and make a play. If Trevor Lawrence does not get hit here, he is very likely hitting this throw out here, and he's throwing a touchdown pass. Or I guess more so, out here, right? And he's throwing a touchdown pass. This is why you pay pass rushers the big money. When you have a guy like Trey Hendrickson, it's not just sacks. Pressures are real. People that say pressures are just almost gotchas, you don't understand the game of football, because this pressure was an almost gotcha that created a turnover, and it's in large part the reason the Bengals won. Their defense that they were able to play in the red zone is why they won this football game. This stops them from going down 14-0 on a third down when you get pressure, force a turnover. Perfect timing was probably going to be a perfect ball from Trevor Lawrence. Instead, it's a turnover thanks to the pass rush. So I'm not putting this one all on Trevor because he got hit mid-throw. That's tough. And not only did he get hit mid-throw, it's not because he held onto the ball too long. He threw the ball on rhythm with perfect timing, and offensive line, or in this case, left tackle, just didn't block at all. So I'm going to give Trevor Lawrence some slack on this one. I want to talk about this second interception from Trevor Lawrence, right? So first of all, there's a penalty. There's a pre-snap penalty because we got guys moving around right as the motion is being sent. We got to get set. We got to understand motion is about to get sent. You can't move. You can't move. You got to stay where you're at, right? So he moves, and the reason he moves is to give him space to come inside because he is coming inside on the route. I get it. But you got to have that knowledge of what's happening on the play before he gets sent in motion. And now it's third down, and even if Trevor Lawrence throws a perfect ball here and it gets completed, now you have 3rd and 11 anyway. So it was a lose-lose here, and unfortunately it's a really bad lose that they end up having to be stuck with because of the ball location and miscommunication between Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. So Brian Thomas here, right, he's running this dig route into the middle of the field. And then you get a hitch and you get a seam, right? And it's against cover 3. So we're going to get flat defender, we're going to get deep third, we're going to get deep middle, vertical hook, right? And then over here, there's no deep defenders because there's no deep route threats. So these guys are going to kind of be able to trickle over here to go make a play. So with that being said, Trevor Lawrence has to identify coverage, right? So he's going to get his eyes left. He knows these guys are a non-factor if he gets the ball out in time, right? So he understands that. He's going to take a 3-step drop, and he's going to choose to throw the football at the perfect time, right? Ball's coming out right now. Perfect. But here's where he makes an error, right? So the defender is in his drop, and he's coming out this way, which means we really want to throw the football at his head when we see him because it's going to come behind his head, right? Bang. This ball needs to get thrown about a yard, maybe not even quite a yard, outside the hash. It's going to save Brian Thomas because this window closes fast, right? Right now, this is the window. But by the time the ball gets here, this is the window, right? So it's going to shrink drastically here. And that's what the problem they run into. Brian Thomas tries to throttle. He tries to sit down in the window right here, just inside the hash. So Trevor Lawrence can put the ball on his chest and he can turn up and get about 2 yards after the catch and not just get absolutely leveled. And not just get absolutely leveled by a linebacker, right? But instead, Trevor Lawrence puts this ball right up like the inside of the hash. And Brian Thomas doesn't want to get just flattened. So he's going to throttle down and reach for this ball. And because he does that, it gets picked. So Brian Thomas, partially on him, right? You can't do that. You just can't. You got to go for the football when it gets thrown. You got to protect the ball at the end of the day. You can't, because this is what happens. Interception, Bengals take over at your 30 now, right? That's the difference in football games right there. So you can't let that happen. But also Trevor Lawrence got to have a better understanding of the spacing of where guys are sitting down and actually get the ball out. I don't think the timing's bad, right? 1, 2, 3, ball's out, right? And it's out pretty much right on the break. He leads them instead of putting it on them, right? You got to know the difference between putting it on them and leading them. He leads them instead of putting them on them right there. So it's just a ball location decision issue. Hopefully they get that figured out. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. And I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.